So this is coming from the gamer. This is, I miss when the trolls used to care, from Stacy Henley. Stacy Henley actually got into a debate with one of our Clownfish TV writers during Hogwarts Legacy. And that was pretty interesting. And Stacy Henley, as I recall, said something stupid on a podcast, and the BBC had to apologize to J.K. Rowling, because Stacy Henley is a trans activist and does not like J.K. Rowling, as is their right. If they don't like J.K. Rowling, they do not have to like J.K. Rowling. But the whole personality seems to be antagonizing gamers. I miss when the trolls used to care. We used to only hate the things we loved. Contradictory, I know, but it's also the central premise behind several dozen epic poems, novels, and murder-suicides. Wow, that got dark. There's a form of hate that only comes from a love twisted into something rotten. It's hard to go from zero to hate. You need the running start that backs up all the way to love in order to springboard yourself into hate. Let's look at a few examples. That is actually true. So for all the attacks that these journalists have against YouTubers, the reason a lot of us, I'm not saying all of us, some of us just kind of got into it because they just wanted to hate on stuff. Some of us got into it because they were always politically minded, but most of us started out being thoroughly upset with the state of things right now, whether it's comic books or Star Wars or Star Trek or video games or whatever it is. That's why so many of us started doing this. Myself, my wife included. We noticed a big change in the industry, and we got into it when we actually thought we could lose everything, like lose every connection to the pop culture space. Because I remember having a conversation with Geeky, and I said, we open our mouths about comic books, and we tell people what's going on behind the scenes with publishers from our point of view. We're never going to work in the industry again. It's over. We're not going to get invited to conventions anymore. Nobody's going to acknowledge us anymore. It is 100% over. And we looked at each other and we're like, yeah, we're okay with that. But we talked about it for a couple days. So yeah, we actually love this stuff. This is what we wanted to do. This is part of the reason that we got together, because we both had a deep love of pop culture. And then we just watched the whole thing collapse, in a very short period of time. Thank you very much, YK Penguin. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So yeah, fandoms used to be for fans only. Back in the day, if something appeared in Star Wars you didn't agree with, two things happened. Firstly, if you loved Star Wars, you would rant and rave and post on forums via dial-up modem. That's true. You loved it and they added something to it that you hated. This happened with Return of the Jedi. I remember that. A lot of people were angry about the Ewoks. They were angry that there was a second Death Star. And there was actually a magazine out, I think it was CinemaScape or something, but they had like a whole expose on Return of the Jedi, and I bought it because I love Return of the Jedi, and they were just like, yeah, this is the worst movie ever. It's completely ruined Star Wars. And then The Phantom Menace came along, right? But you did it because you loved it, right? The hypothetical thing being hated might be motivated by racism, homophobia, or sexism. It might be a lore issue. It might be something motivated by racism. Wait a second, Stacy. This hypothetical thing being hated might be motivated by racism, homophobia, or sexism. So alternatively, you didn't love Star Wars to begin with. In this case, you never heard about this thing you might have hated and didn't even care for it if you did. I think this has happened. This actually has happened with any political pundit. And I'm going to say it, on the right or the left, people have made pop culture weirdly political. We have a lot of people that got into fandom thinking it was a shortcut to get to Hollywood or whatever it was that they wanted to do, right? And they kind of latched on to this stuff. And but we have people on the right doing it too. I'm gonna be honest. We do. We have do I think Ben Shapiro actually cares about Star Wars? Do I think Matt Walsh actually cares about animation? No. Yeah. But here we go. The hypothetical thing being hated might be motivated by racism, homophobia, or sexism. It might be a lore issue. It might be something motivated by racism, homophobia, or sexism that you blame on lore issues because you think black people or gay people or women. Oh God, Stacy, thank you for reminding me why all these sites are getting shut down. Here we go. And now we're getting into trans activism, and people hate these games because race and gender and whatever. Oh my God. Okay, there's the third group. the loudest and worst to deal with, who have invaded every corner of the internet to make it worse. I'm sure that they're probably including us in this group. They don't care about Yosuke. They do not care about Aloy. They do not care about Lightyear. I care about Lightyear. They care about nothing. A few of them have Patreons or subscriber Discords or YouTube channels or websites called The Daily Wire and rely on stoking culture war fires for relevance, but most of them are just here for the carnage. No love, just hate. Well, I could say the same thing of activists that have infiltrated gaming journalism. Now, I'm not saying Stacey Henley doesn't care about games. I mean, Stacey seems like they know a thing or two about games, but Stacey has also used this platform to push activism. So really, you're no better than the people you're claiming to hate. And this is why so many of these sites are getting shut down, because they're not really about video games. It's just for activism, and it's getting old. I don't care what your politics are. I really don't. You know, there's a time and a place for those discussions, and it's not. I don't think it's in this space. I don't think it's in the comic book space, other than stories that maybe deal with it directly, and realize that not every story is for every person, but everything. Like, you cannot get away from this. Like, you can't get away from it. They just keep like doubling, tripling down on you. And this is why gamers aren't going to these websites. This is why they're shutting down. It's as simple as that. This is why you're losing your jobs. Yeah, it's not hard. You just got to talk about video games. You know, back in the day, this was gaming journalism right here. That's all you have to do. Just talk about video games. Tell people about the new games coming out. Tell them what you think about games. Play some games. That's all you got to do. It's not hard. This isn't really hard, but you know, they've spent the last 10 years stoking outrage themselves, and for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you push hard politically in one direction, you're going to get pushback just as hard, if not harder, from the other side. So the whole thing's imploding. What are we going to do? I don't know.